Okay.
So I don't know if you want me to go through that again or not. We also had another member of the public, Robert Press, just join us. So, so if you want to start, Hazel, or do you want me to go through introductions?
Let's start the meeting at 6:46. Again, I apologize for not being able to be on the WebEx. I had some issues getting on and it just kept throwing me off. So that's why we're starting a little late. So sorry about that, but technology does whatever it wants at times.
And just so you're aware, Hazel Yahe, I think before you jumped on, said he did share the agenda, the sign-in info publicly. So at least we've been able to get a couple of members of the public that way.
Okay, great. So I'm not really going to review the minutes, October minutes. I still have not found my scan disk. My as I said last month, my cat got a hold of it, and I have no idea what she did with it. So I really apologize for that. I have been looking in all her secret hiding places. I haven't found it yet. But as soon as I do, I will post them for everybody's review. Where I had asked the Department of Buildings to be here, because we have a serious issue with zombie properties. For those of you that don't know what a zombie property is, it's a property that has been vacant or abandoned by the owner and has fallen into disarray, and it's a blight on the community, and it attracts squatters, it attracts drug activity and all kinds of other stuff, and we have a couple of them in Van Ness. But after I had invited the parks and I gave them a list of the properties that I was talking about, I was updated to some of the a couple of changes that happened to some of the properties. Two of them have been sold, or they're in the process of being sold and renovated. But we still have some other properties, and what I really wanted to know was how is it that we can get these properties boarded or demolished when they're in really bad conditions. I know one of them, I can't remember which one off the top of my head, was so bad that I felt like it was going to fall over at any minute. So if the Department of Buildings can just give us an update, if I don't know if they were able to go and take a look at the properties, but at least let us know exactly what it is that we can do when we have these properties in our communities. It's not only in the Van Ness area, there's also some of them, throughout the community. So, Mr. Ulis, if you would be so kind as to provide us with some information.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ulis Jarrett. I work with Intergovernmental Affairs for the Bronx Borough Office, DOB. And I'd be happy. I have a list of the properties that you have. 531 Van Ness Avenue, 1807 Muliner Avenue, 1661 Hunt Avenue, 588 Van Ness Avenue, 524 Van Ness Avenue, 1641 Garfield Street, 866 Morris Park Avenue, 1719 Barnes Avenue.
Correct.
So I guess we can start with 531 Van Ness Avenue. there was an inspection done in November, on November 9th of 2018. That was the last inspection that was done. At time of inspection, building was sealed and secured. That's all I have for 531 Van Ness. Am I pronouncing it 1807? Is it Mulliner Avenue?
Mulliner. Well, we pronounce it
Mulliner.
Mulliner.
Okay. So we've been out there a couple of times. We issued a stop work order in 2010. That's a full stop work order. There's also, let me go through. There's also in June 14th of 2021 of this year, it was reported there is an abandoned building that has a lot of vandalism. People use the house for fireworks and break in often, and there are even illegal drug use going on there. At time of inspection, a violation issued for cellar door at exposure 2 opened and unguarded. No people were on the property at time of inspection. That's a repeat. There is also a partial vacate order. July 26th, there was a partial vacate order issued for this property. Also, a number of DOB and ECB violations, unable to gain access, partial vacate to remain in place. I believe it's a vacate order for the seller. Moving on to 1661 Hunt Avenue. Let's see. So I listed out, last action I believe was in, oh no, it was in 2000. Let me see if I can narrow it down to a summary. So apparently there has been some movement on this property. I'm not sure why you feel that this property is abandoned. I guess we can discuss that afterwards when I've discussed the status or what we have on record for the property. But this particular property has a number of alt twos, and it has a number of permits issued to the property.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some movement going on with that. Again, that's 1661 Hunt Avenue. I'll move on to 588 Van Ness Avenue. There's no bans for it, so that doesn't give any alarm. Our last inspection of the property was in 2010, in which we issued ECB violations. Building is in disrepair but not unstable. Front porch settled, dislodged, fascia. So that property received some ECB violations. That's our last encounter with that property for 528 Van Ness Avenue. Yes.
Yeah, 588.
Yes.
It's a red building that's the one that I was saying looks like if you blow on it, it's going to fall apart.
Okay. All right. So the thing is that we won't know unless someone, makes a 311 request to us and brings it to our attention. If you feel that, is the property sealed?
The last time I saw it, I have to say it was a while ago. It was kind of boarded up, and I'm hoping that nobody's gone in there because, like I said, it looks like it's about to fall in itself.
Okay.
So it was boarded up. I don't know how securely it was, but it's one of the houses that I felt needed to be demolished.
So not by my questioning, I'm not in any means going against you, but what makes you think that it looks like there might be some structural integrity for it?
Well, because if you take a look at it, first of all the roof of the porch is kind of like leaning to the middle, like it's about to fall in.
Okay.
And so that's kind of what makes. And if you look at the windows, some of them are a little slanted. I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert. That's why you're
No,
here.
definitely. I understand. Yeah. That's why I'm wondering. Some properties look that way, and especially if this is a property that hasn't been maintained. But like I said before, with these properties and with the other properties that I still have a couple of more, that I want you to keep in mind that, our department may not be aware of anything, if there's any underlying conditions. And so, we can't go out there. There are some limitations to what we can do. And I guess we can speak about that afterwards when we go through the questions, when I go through the other properties.
Okay.
I'm happy to go over any other questions. 524 Van Ness Avenue. We went out in 2016. We went out in April. The last time we went out of April of this year, our inspector found no violations warranted for complaint at time of inspection. There was a complaint of siding is falling off the side of the building. It's unstable and dangerous for pedestrians walking by. There seems to be, at time of inspection, our inspector noted no debris, siding falling from the building at time of inspection. There is a sidewalk shed erected along the sidewalk, which provides protection for the pedestrians. Moving on to 1641 Garfield Street. Let me see. We went out in 2012. 2018 was our last inspection. January 31st, at time of inspection, building doors and windows are sealed. We just got a complaint of a vacant house. So our inspectors made sure that it was at least, locked or sealed. Moving on to 866 Morris Park Avenue. There seems to be a plumbing permit. I'm issued for, so bear with me for a second. I'm trying to work out a date. I did note that there was a plumbing permit. 2017, there was an inspection for construction being done, work without a permit, previously reported under complaint. Let's see, debris removed. 2017, no violations warranted. Debris removed from building without working permit and before work hours. Those are hard to enforce. Let's see, moving on to 1719 Barnes Avenue. We went out to inspect in 2018. There were some permits that were issued in 2017. We had an inspection for a complaint for contrary to plans. So I guess there was a complaint for it just states contrary to plans. I'm not sure what the complaint might have been. Our inspector was unable to gain access. We went out on September 13th and then went for another attempt in October, and both times were unable to gain access. That was in 2018. Overall, these properties, the way we deal with them is on a base-by-base circumstance. These properties fall into different situations and have, of course, different owners that, have different circumstances. And also, it's what we're aware of and what the community brings us aware of. With that, generally speaking, do you have any questions for me that you think that I'll be able to answer for you?
So in order for an inspection to be made, a 311 call has to be generated?
Yes and no. Sometimes the community board brings them to my attention and I request an inspection, but that is generally how it's done. People who don't have access or are not a member of the community board, they go online or they make a 311 request by phone, and they say, hey, look, we see an issue with this property and it's structural or it has something to do with possibly worksite safety, and they bring it to our attention. The 311 complaint is issued to our department and we send out an inspector. That's the way we deal with 90, I would say 5% of the issues that we deal with enforcement wise. Yes.
If you don't mind, so the Community Board 11 office generally does file a 311 complaint before reaching out to buildings.
Okay.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember last time. I mean, unless it's like an inspector's already gone out, which we've talked about a particular property, and I just want more information. But other than that, to file a complaint, I usually go through the 311 and then I reach out to buildings.
Right. And what I do is when you bring it to my attention, I look into it and I request for an inspection, probably about 90% of the time. Sometimes, our hands are tied. Maybe we went out before very recently and we'd like to give them time to maybe address it, whatever violation that they might have gotten or, whatever the result of the inspection is, depending on what is the issue. But in a general perspective, to answer your question, for the whole city is they make a 311 request and it's dispatched to our department.
Okay. So, but what happens if the property is like abandoned, like some of these properties were?
Well,
You?
it just depends. A property, you know, is abandoned. That's not generally against the law. We're concerned with public safety and property safety. So when we go out, our general that's the way we're looking at a property. So will it be a danger to the public? Will it be a danger to property? And depending on what the issue is with the property, we send out an inspector, and it may escalate to where we need to send out an engineer to check the structural integrity, but it may call for violations. What we want is for the property to be locked and sealed. If it has functioning windows and functioning doors, we would like for the person to lock them. If those elements are not functional, then we require the owner to seal the property up. If the
but what if there? I understand that, but what if there's no owner? What if the property has been abandoned and there's nobody there to take care of that property? Who does the responsibility fall on?
The issue gets escalated, and we investigate the underlying issues for it, and if not, then it'll get escalated to HPD, and then HPD will do whatever work that needs to be done to the property.
What do you mean work? What do you mean by work? They'll come out and seal it up?
As I was saying before, if there's something wrong with the structural integrity of the property, and we feel that it needs to be that there needs to be something done about it, or if we feel that there's something about this home that might affect or the safety of the public, then there's some kind of work needs to be done to it. The Department of Buildings doesn't they don't have carpenters or any kind of workers. We don't have a budget to do any work. What happens is that the issue gets escalated, and we work with our sister agency, HPD, and notify them of there needs to be work done to the property to fix anything that, is the issue. And they actually do the work. They take over the circumstances, the issues of the property, and they do the work. And anything that happens to the property in the future, whether it's demoed or whether it's sold, it'll be addressed then.
Okay, I'm just a little confused. So when you're saying that they will do the work on it, that doesn't mean they're going to go in and renovate the property. That means they're just going to make it secure. Or
exactly. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
So they're not going to go and fix it and make it livable. They're just going to board it up or secure it so that nobody gets hurt and nobody can break in.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes sense. Yeah, I didn't think you guys would do it, but it's it's just concerning that when I was doing research on some of these properties, I couldn't even find the owners. A lot of time it were banks that had taken over the property, and getting the bank to do whatever it needs to, whatever it takes to secure the property is like pulling teeth. They don't want any responsibility.
Sure.
So it was very frustrating when you're trying to get this property sealed up and the bank isn't cooperating and you feel like nobody's listening to you because that's exactly what was happening and that's what's been happening. This is why I wanted you to come to this meeting to explain it to me.
Well, so are you saying that there's a property that needs to be sealed, that
Well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and take another look at them because like I said, I haven't seen them in a while. Um, and I will do an inspection of all these properties because I know that one of the residents in the Van Ness area did tell me that some of them were sold and are in the process of being renovated, but not all of them. So I need to find out. I can't remember which ones it was, but I am going to go out there myself and look at the properties, and then I will definitely get back to you with a report so that we can start if they're not sealed, we can start getting them boarded up or demolished if it needs to go that route.
Well, yeah, but I just want to warn you that because you feel that a property needs to go or be demolished doesn't mean that might be the outcome of the.
No,
the
I know. You told me that. I know.
Yeah, there's limitations to what we can do, and just like you mentioned earlier, it's frustrating. Jeremy gives me a call about, or he contacts me about a property, and I try to do whatever I can to help Jeremy because he does an amazing job for the community. And, there's just limitations of what I can do. And, if any time during my presentation or not presentation of me telling my status and I sound rigid or anything like that, I just want to make sure that the board is equipped with the facts and, so we can work from there. If you have a property out there and you feel that it could be, a danger to the public, you feel like, there needs to be an inspection done. Someone needs to look at it, our department. Yeah, please, please contact me so I can get an inspector out there.
Oh, I will.
So
I will be. I will be contacting you. I'll give you an update on how I find the properties.
Definitely, because I want to help. I live in the Bronx, and I understand these things could be not only an eyesore, but going past that. We don't want our kids going around there. We all know that they do attract certain behaviors, and it's not fun, and that's not something that any of us want to live around. With that said, sometimes these properties are transitioning through different ownership, and we can't get involved with that. Also, there are some elements that happens. We have properties that we do contact the owner and we say, hey, look, you need to seal this up, and they comply. They seal up their properties, but then you have people breaking into them and doing what they want to do, even afterwards. And it becomes, in that sense, we get contacted and they say, hey, look, the guys broke through. We can see it's boarded up, but they broke through it. They climbed. They did whatever, they wanted to do, and they broke through. When it gets to that point, it becomes a criminal matter. There's nothing that we could do. The owner sealed it up as mandated by our department, but someone went past that point and trespassed and broke into it, and it becomes a criminal matter. Sometimes they run into that avenue properties. So, as I mentioned before, they splinter off into different avenues and they need to be addressed in different kind of ways. And the only way for us to do that is if we work together and, try to, address these problems that they have. And, I'm the IGA at the Bronx office, and I encourage you to contact me, if you feel that there is a problem, or you can make a 311. You can do both. But I'm here to help. And I understand, and I try to be as helpful as possible when I can, but there are some limitations to what I can do and what our department can do.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate
So
it.
Hazel?
But like I said, I'm going to go out and I will send you an update on the properties.
Okay.
All right, Hazel?
No problem.
Can you hear me, Hazel?
Yeah.
Yeah, just so for your edification, since you can't view who's in the meeting, two more, I believe, members of the public join. Looks like Roxanne Delgado and Al Suleiman. Just so you're aware. But everybody else is from before.
Okay. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions? Any of our board members have any questions regarding this topic? No? Okay. So, thank you so much for coming and enlightening us. And like I said, I will be in touch. We'll work together to secure these properties if they are not already secured.
Excuse me, Hazel. Are you allowing the public to speak and ask questions?
Do you have a question for our guest?
Yes, the members of the public are allowed to speak in committee meetings. It's only
Yeah,
a full board meeting.
I was just asking you if you have a question for our guest.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Okay, so ask your question.
Okay. How many inspectors are there that go out to the buildings in the Bronx? Is it 1, 5, 10? How many inspectors?
That's a number that I can't give to you. I'm not prepared. The inspectors come from different units, and they come from different boroughs, and it depends on the issue. So we have hundreds of inspectors, and they deal with a number of issues or trades.
Was that it, Robert?
I'm finding that very surprised because there should be a Bronx borough, like there's other Bronx borough units. And really, I find that very amazing. I'll have to check into that then. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna thank you so much. Again, thank you.
No problem.
Okay, great. So I'm gonna move on with the agenda, and I'm gonna open it up to the gallery session. Jeremy, you're gonna have to help me here because I can't see if anybody's hands are up.
Ulysses, are you able to stay if anybody else has any questions, or do you have to leave?
Sure, I'll stay.
I think so. Ms. Delgado has a question. Hazel?
Okay.
If she's ready.
I have a statement to make, please. Are you able to hear me, sir?
Yes.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
This is to the Committee Board 11 Housing Committee. First, I'd just like to state the agenda was not posted on the website, and it was not sent to me until within half hour before the meeting convened. And again, this is a disservice to the community because I have said time and time again for years, especially during COVID-19, why won't Committee Board 11 send emails notifying the public of the meeting, date, and how to access these meetings to attend? Because again, when I tried to go into the website, there was no agenda with the access details for me to join this meeting, and plus no agenda. I did not know what this meeting was about, so I ended up attending this meeting when I really shouldn't have. But the point is that it's a disservice on the Community Board and refuses to send out emails to the public notifying them of these meetings, which is less than 10 meetings per month. And a lot of people don't have access to internet. The few that do have access to internet don't know how to surf the internet. And we have a large population of seniors and disabled people who don't have the full ability to locate such information accessibly as quickly as others. I don't know why Community Board 11 refuses to send out emails notifying members of the public of the meetings and how to attend them. I think this is a service to the community, and why time and time again this Community Board meetings really have poor attendance from from members of the public. So this is really needs to be addressed. I've been making these requests for years, especially during COVID-19, now that these meetings are remote. And again, send out an email notifying the people of the meeting, date, time, and the link or phone number to attend this meeting, instead of me sending emails and no response to it, except Mr. Yahe, who sent me an email half hour reminding you he's just a board member, he's not a staff member, he's not obligated to respond to emails. The staff did not respond to my emails. Second, minutes. There's an open meetings law that requires minutes to be available to the public within 2 minutes, 2 weeks within a meeting that convenes. Time and time again, these minutes are not available. Again, the staff should be doing minutes because then they could be held accountable as opposed to a volunteer. This is a disservice, and it's a violation of the open meeting law, which is a very strong law that's required by the state, that the meetings are open to the public, the meetings are notified, people are notified of meetings, and minutes are available within 2 weeks after a meeting convenes. That is not being done years and after years, including the housing minutes, not just housing, but all the committees. Lastly, the reason why I needed to attend this meeting was because a neighbor of mine notified me that there's going to be a homeless shelter on White Plains Road, between Town Parkway and Morris Park. I notified one of the electeds, and they responded that Community Board 11 was notified in early October of this, and I contacted someone else who don't disclose. Why is it that Community Board 11 is not notifying the public? I mean, Community Board 11 made such a big chaos because they said that they're not notified timely. Yet when you are notified, you don't notify the members of the public because you were aware of this since early October about this proposed homeless shelter. And I had to find out today, and it was not posted on the emails. It was not put in the Facebook page. Nowhere was it seen that there was going to be a homeless shelter, which DHS notified the Community Board in early October. Why does Community Board 11 refuse to send out emails about the meetings? Why do they not provide minutes on a timely basis, and why do they not notify the public? This is keeping the public, the lack of transparency, and this is why a lot of people think that there's a lot of self-dealing with this board, because you want to keep us in the dark, and that's not right, because this is funded by taxpayers. I work very hard for my money, and I, like everyone else in this community, works hard, and we fund this board. We fund the rent, we fund your staff's salary, we fund the equipment that you use. Why do you not respond and give us the courtesy to do your job, notify us of these meetings, provide us with the details, give us the minutes, and notify us when the city notifies you of homeless shelters being proposed in this community? Why is this happening here? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, so I put it in the chat. We'll send on the email tomorrow with the calendar. Our apologies for the agenda tonight. If you were present at the very beginning when I explained that there was an issue with publishing the agenda, that was not intentional. So, our apologies for that. This is why.
You're very mumble. I can't hear you too well. You're very mumble for some reason. There's static behind you.
I can't do anything about that. I don't know. I don't control the mic right now.
I can't really understand what you're saying. I can't understand your response.
Can anybody else hear me?
Yeah, Roxanne, I think it's your phone.
Yeah,
I can understand him. He's loud and clear. He says at the beginning of the meeting, he apologized for the glitch with the website. So that was mostly what he said.
I understand you clearly. I don't know why he has some kind of echo. But the point is that this is not the first time we have issues with the links, with the website. I have emails dated 2 years ago, especially when you went remote, of me not being have access to to meetings because supposedly the links were broken or the links were not posted on time. And I asked 2 years ago, why when you send an email notifying people of the meetings, why do you only put it on the website? Because not only is sometimes we have these glitches, people in our community, I know for a fact, do not have access to internet, nor do they know how to use the internet. Why won't you accommodate those type of people? Why discriminate against people who don't have access to internet or don't have the
Well,
basic
then,
ability?
Roxanne, what do you suggest we do regarding the people that don't have access to the internet?
Email.
Why? Then how are we going to send them emails if they don't have access?
You don't need you don't have to use internet to have email access from your phone. A lot of people do have email. They don't have social media, but they receive emails. I set up emails to certain people in my community. You just have to send an email notifying of the meeting, the time, and the phone number or the link.
Now the link that we had for this, I even had issues with the link. That's out of my control. First of all, I couldn't even get on. That's why I'm calling in. There was something going on with the link that was not working. I've never had an issue before. I'm sorry that the agenda was not put on. It was sent out. It's not within our control either when the city decides to post these agendas and these minutes. We send our stuff. We send everything on time, but because we have to rely on them to be able to put it on the website. That's not on us. That's on them. So if you're going to be complaining to somebody, maybe you should do us the favor and complain to them and tell them to start putting our stuff on time so that everybody can have access to it. Because when I write my minutes, I send it to the board. The board sends it down to whoever it is that they send it down to, and they're supposed to put our stuff, our information on our website in a timely manner, and they don't. And then we get yelled at, and we get accused of not doing our job.
You can send emails. There's such thing as emails that most people have access to. You can send emails of the minutes. You can send emails of the meeting details. You don't have to rely on the city. And this is not the first time we have these glitches. This has been going ongoing. If you have an issue with the city portal, then by all means follow up with them to make sure that people have those links are not available to them. By all means, go ahead. But I'm, as a public member, stating that why is the Community Board 11 refused to send out emails, not only because they do glitches, people don't have access to internet.
Okay, I'll look into it and see if we're actually obligated that we have to send emails. But I know that our information, we send the information the way that we're supposed to. It's not our fault that the city decides to put it up whenever they feel like it.
It's so sad to hear you say that you have to be obligated to send the email to notify them of your meetings. It's very sad to hear that you're obligated. You should say, yes, by all means, we would like to reach out to those people who don't have access
to
internet.
Well, that's because you have to understand, getting all these emails and emailing, we have a lot of committees. And that's a lot of work.
I'm talking about that's just 10 committees per month, and it's your staff member. I'm not saying you just send emails. I say the staff gets paid to do this. I get emails from Community Board 8. I get emails from Board 10.
I will look into it for you, okay? And then
obligated.
I will look into it for you.
Just a simple email that I get from Community Board 10 every week. I get them update on when their meetings be held, how to access. But I'm not Community Board 10 too.
Okay, I will look into it.
Okay, so yeah, we'll look into it. And my knowledge, we are obligated to send out the calendar, and yeah, that's been delayed. So that is an error on our part. We are obligated to send out the calendar, to my knowledge. I'm not sure about agendas. We'll look into that, like Hazel said. Hazel, you want to unmute yourself? Let me see if anybody else from the public would like to speak. *6. Hopefully everybody can hear me. On.
Okay, I don't know what happened. This thing muted me.
Yeah, go ahead, Hazel. Do you want to see if anybody else from the public would like the chance to speak?
Yeah, do we have anybody else to the gallery?
Hello.
Yes, Bob Press.
Hello? Okay,
Can we,
for some reason,
well,
I
hold
was,
on, Bob. Can we make sure everybody gets a chance? Since you
okay,
spoke,
but,
Mr. K,
okay, fine, I have
Mr.
no problem with
Cass.
that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Cass or Al Suleiman. Would you have anything you'd like to say? Oh, okay, Bob, yours. Bob, Press.
Robert,
Yes,
go ahead.
okay. Let me just say one thing. Is there not an email listing for the community board to send out? Because I get emails occasionally on certain things, but I get no agendas. Why is that? Yahi, are you there? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we heard you, Bob. I mean, I don't know if agendas have to be sent out. I mean, we could probably do it. I don't know.
I know other boards do it.
I know we're obligated to send out the calendar, to my knowledge.
I mean, other boards have been doing it for 5-10 years already, sending out the notices of committee meetings through emails. I don't see why Board 11 can't do it. I mean, like I said, we're getting some emails of certain things happening, so agendas could be on the same email list. And I have to agree with Ms. Delgado. I mean, I was very interested. I thought we were going to be talking about the homeless shelters tonight, and we're not. Okay, when is Community Board 11 going to be talking about homeless shelters, Yahi? This
Well,
is the Yahi.
it was on the agenda. It was on the agenda, so we were going to mention it briefly. We're trying to set up a meeting with Homeless Services. Right, Hazel?
You mean
Yeah,
you guys
can I speak?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so we are trying to reach out to these people to set up a meeting to talk about the homeless shelter that's proposed at 2028 White Plains Road. We have not received a date, so I really didn't want to bring it up because I really didn't have anything to report. And as soon as we get a date from them, we'll be posting it and we'll have a meeting.
The board basically hasn't had a meeting on either of the three homeless shelters, really.
That's not, excuse
Okay.
me, that's not true. I had a meeting a couple of months ago. The housing committee did have a meeting on that. I have been meeting up about the homeless shelters. So I resent that you say that we haven't.
Well, I'm going to address Yahi on this because Yahi, if the public got these agendas, they would know about it. I want to speak about homeless shelters since I was involved with a homeless shelter in Ward 8.
Well, I'm sorry. I thought that you were at that meeting. I had a very good turnout.
Well, I mean,
there were people
that you should have.
that knew about our housing our committee meeting, and we did and we had a lot of people that were here or that live in the area where the popular one was proposed.
Well, Hazel,
we did announce it at our full board meeting, which I believe Mr. Press was at.
That was a full board meeting. I couldn't speak.
Yeah, but we announced
that was for board members only. Okay, that one was for board members only. I couldn't speak. I've asked to be a community member of housing as well as economic development and land use. I gave that to the chair of the board and the vice chair 2 months ago.
All right, so we can speak to.
That is in the city charter, community committee members. I want to know why I'm not a committee member. Okay, why am I not a community committee member of this committee?
That's a good question. I didn't know that you had requested that.
Yes, I did. Of the chair and the vice chair.
Okay, I do not have a problem with you being.
Yeah, I mean, and I spoke about it briefly. I just got follow-up on it, so it should, we'll get back to you.
I mean, I'm not yelling at you. I know you're doing a nice job, and Hazel, and you're doing a hard job. It's a very hard job right now with these zombie homes, with the new development that's coming in other than the homeless shelters that you're going to have. Mm-hmm. All right, many of which will be as of right. And they will no longer be 6-story buildings. They're allowed to go 8 stories or even higher if they have community facilities or certain amounts of affordable housing. And I know this, and whereas very few other people know it because I've been through this array. All right, and that's why I wanted to be a member of the Housing Committee.
All right, well, then I guess now that I know, I'll bring it up.
It's just the chair has to approve it, the chair of the board. Okay, because on my old board, we had several members of different committees who were from the community.
I do not discourage community members to come to my committee meetings. I actually want more people to come to my meetings.
I agree with you.
Because housing is a very important issue, especially in this community.
Yes,
and
it is.
the more people I have on my side, the more that we can get done. So I don't discourage anybody from coming to my meeting. I encourage whoever wants to come.
Then maybe it's the district manager who's disencouraging us, like somebody said before, because we're not getting notice of these meetings.
Okay, well,
All right,
but it's like, you guys know that this committee meets the first Thursday of every month. And I think I've only not had one meeting. The first Thursday of every month we meet. And sometimes I have to change the date, but I try and have a meeting every single month.
Well, maybe this is why the police don't attend the meetings either, because they don't know exactly when the meetings are. Okay? They need to be told when the meetings are.
That's not my committee, so that doesn't.
No, I know that. I'm saying the other meetings.
Okay.
Okay, because dates are changed. All right? But I hope that, Yahe, you can get this straightened out with your district manager, please.
Okay,
Sorry,
Robert,
Bob.
thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll straighten it out, but you just said it was the chairman who makes that decision. So, all right. So we'll straighten it out with the chairman. Thank you, Bob.
All right. Anybody else? Okay. Is there any old business? Yeah. Hello?
Yeah, well, in the midst of my statement, the district manager muted me, and I was not able to unmute myself. But regarding minutes, first of all, you say you want people to attend your meetings, but if they're not given the link to attend the meetings or the phone number, how could they attend a meeting? And since you say you don't feel like you're obligated to send emails notifying people of these meetings, not to mention that, again, there was things on housing meetings that were kept off the agenda to discourage people from attending meetings. So you're saying one thing here, but actually speaks louder than words.
Roxanne, I never discourage anybody from attending these meetings, and I always have a pretty good attendance. So I don't understand what you're trying to say.
I don't think
I never discourage people from coming to these meetings.
First of all,
never ever have I done that.
I don't think today is considered good attendance. It's just 3 or 4 people of the public. Second, how can you expect people to attend a meeting when they don't receive emails and there's always glitches? And as the city, you're upset about the glitches.
Okay, I told you. All right, we had this discussion already, and I told you that I will look into it and get back to you.
Okay, how about the minutes? Because it's very hard to attend meetings when we don't have the minutes done on a timely basis to follow up with what was discussed, old businesses. And again,
okay, well, you weren't here. I don't know if you were here in the beginning. I did have the minutes. I put them on a scan disk to bring to the office, to print out, and to email to everybody. My cat took my scan disk, and I don't know what she did with. Okay, so I am in the process of trying to look for that because I don't have my notes anymore. Because since I did the minutes, I shredded them because I don't like just leaving them around. So I apologized profusely for that, and I am in the process of.
I'm seeking changes for the benefit of the community, and minutes are required within 2 weeks of the meeting, and time again.
So I muted everybody without the option to unmute because, Ms. Delgado, we know about your complaints at this point. We know exactly, yes, the open meetings law requires meeting minutes should be done within 2 weeks of the meeting. We know that, right? And I mean, you can say it over and over again. It's not going to change. Things don't just change. I mean, we can't rectify the past. So, Hazel, I mean, we really should just move on. The complaints are chronic, right? We know what the complaints are. We know where we have deficiencies for the most part. And we will do our best to rectify them. Can you unmute, Hazel? *6.
All right. So, where was I? Old business. I don't think we have any. I don't have any new business. So, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Well, you don't have a quorum. You don't have a committee present,
Oh,
lady.
well, then I guess I
Anyway,
will.
so.
I guess we'll adjourn at 7:41.
Huh? All right.
Thank you everybody for attending. I really appreciate it. I don't. Do we have meetings in January? We do, right?
If you want.
Okay. So then I will
Maybe
see
we
you
can have
guys.
homeless services at that point.
Yes. We'll have a meeting in January, and I want to wish everybody a happy holiday.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, take care.
All right. Good night.